Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday, 2222 day. It's a big, energetic day. The moon is currently in Scorpio when I'm recording this, and as a Scorpio moon myself, I am feeling that energy. I wanted to do a Pluto episode today, but honestly, I kind of want to embody it a little bit more and have a better grasp on my own understanding and allow the intuitive downloads to come through before I dive deep into that with you guys here. But what I will say is because it is getting such big publicity, we'll say at the moment, to just keep in mind that this is going to be a long transit. So officially Pluto doesn't go into the next sign until like later into 2023. And so Pluto is on its tail end out of Capricorn, which is why things feel really like big power struggles right now, but it is going to be an overtime period. So not everything happens right now or within the next couple months. It is going to take time. So I'll do another episode. Maybe next week we'll do a class on Pluto. Depends how much I'm feeling. But yeah, just stay tuned for that. So the other things that I wanted to talk about today is I've actually wanted to talk about this one for a little bit now. I've really been sitting with this. And so I want to talk about the witch wound. And I think this one is really important to mention because I notice with a lot of clients and people who come to me, they have this placement. Now, there's no like anything that I've read from astrology or through my learnings that point to this being a witch wound. It's not written anywhere. I didn't take it from anywhere that I am aware of. But it's something that I intuitively had come through for me. And I want to explain this to you guys and how I see this as being part of, in quotations, the witch wound. So we're going to talk about Chiron today, specifically Chiron in the sign of Cancer. So some of you actually have this. And it's, like I said, very common for people who I've noticed in my life. And a lot of people who are on the spiritual path right now, who are starting spiritual businesses or who have a spiritual business, I really notice this as being part of their chart. So even if you don't have this, but let's say one day down the road, you're like working with clients and you are saying like, oh, I just want to have a peek at your chart. Like, what kind of energy am I working with here? And you look and say like, oh my gosh, like this person also has a Chiron in Cancer. Well, you're going to be able to help understand their languaging, help or understand them on another level as well. So we're going to walk through this together. So first and foremost, I'm obviously going to show you the chart and sort of what I'm looking at when it comes to Chiron and how this kind of, yeah, let me just show you guys. Okay. Okay, so this, again, everyone's chart will look different, but what we're looking at right here is this little key, that's Chiron. And so for those of you who don't know what Chiron is, it looks like a key, and I like to refer to Chiron as like, he unlocks our deep inner wounds and allows us to become this healer. And I say that because the myth or the story behind Chiron is that he was like half horse, half man, and he just went through a lot of shit basically in his life. And then the gods were like, hey, like we're going to make you immortal so like you don't have to keep going through all of these lessons and big teachings, but through that you're going to take all of your lessons and teachings of things that you went through in your lifetime, and now you're going to bring them into helping other people. So I sort of see this as like a key that when we are on our journey, we start to unlock things that are connected to our past lives, to our family lineage, our ancestors, whatever it is that you want to use in that terminology. And then when we unlock it, we open ourselves up to begin helping not only heal ourselves, but then help healing everyone that came before us and those ahead of us. So there's subgroups. Okay. So there's people who are born with, let's say, Chiron and Virgo, like whatever the sign is. You're going to have people who are born around similar times of that transit that actually like they would all come together down here on Earth to be with each other. Okay. So first and foremost, let's talk about Chiron in Cancer. Okay, well, I just told you what Chiron is about. So that wounded healer energy. Cancer is the divine feminine. It's a feminine yin planet, or sorry, sign. And it really rules things like our intuition, our emotions, our sensitivities, that like mama bear energy, okay? And the empathic spiritual side. So it's interesting because when I have seen many people come to me, and I also have this placement of, on some level, they experience holding themselves back when it comes to their intuition or their own gifts and talents and sensitivities that come with that more feminine yin energy. So there is a couple ways that this can play out that I've seen. All right. Again, it's going to totally depend on what house this is in for each person, but I'm just doing a general overview. So a Chiron in Cancer placement can really look like someone who doesn't necessarily feel safe expressing themselves through their intuition, maybe stepping into their spiritual gifts, their spiritual path. Maybe they hold themselves back because they're holding on to things from the past that said, hey, that's not okay. Hey, that's bad. You are shamed for using those things. We don't do that here. If we think of Cancer of being the matriarchy, right? Like a very matriarchal planet of like, I can allow myself to feel safe, supported, and receive. And Capricorn, which is the opposite sign to Cancer, Capricorn being that divine masculine and its higher octave of like energy, right? But it can also really be like the patriarchy. So when we have opposing energies, we have this masculine planet of Capricorn, which is like go, hustle, move, push, strudge ahead, work this many hours, reach your goals. And there's nothing wrong with all those things in balance and harmony, of course. But that is the patriarchy. The opposite sign in Cancer of the matriarchy, of the feminine energy of like, yes, I can trust myself. I can trust my gut. I can allow myself to receive. Having it in Chiron, digest that for a second. If you or someone you know has this placement, think of them. I know a few of you on here who have this. I also have this. If we aren't feeling safe in our feminine energy, what do we do? What do we do when we're not feeling safe in that feminine energy? There's obviously a few ways this could go. One of them is to turn up that masculine energy and strive ahead, because somewhere in there, that's been shown that that's okay, that that is safe. Whereas being in this Cancer energy of allowing ourselves to simply receive, to be, to trust our gifts and our qualities. One day, one back there, that wasn't okay. So now a Chiron in Cancer says, we need to work on healing this. You're going to have lessons and you're going to have tests and you're going to have trials and you're going to have successes and you're going to have all these things that start to show that you can unlock this. Very interesting. I just noted that mine is at 22 degrees. And that's interesting because of the 2222. So maybe that's why today I needed to work through there. In terms of Chiron, we can think of the words like safety, feeling safe, especially with Cancer as well, because Cancer wants to feel safe in their shell. They want to feel safe, right? In that sense. So what happens when, the things to a Chiron in Cancer, which is very like, I can help heal. Heal is another Chiron word. I can help heal through my intuition, through feelings, through emotions. What happens when doop, 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 all the years prior to you living this existence, if you have this placement, they've said, that's not okay. That's not safe. You suppress all of that. You turn it down. You begin to not listen to your own intuition. You begin to allow others to make decisions around your energy, your emotions, your sensitivities, and place them on you. you, in some respects, abandon yourself because someone said, that's not safe to do that. Okay, so that's sort of an example. And also when we have a Chiron in Cancer, this can be like literally like it's not safe for me to receive love. It's not safe for me to receive feelings of support. It's not safe for me to receive, maybe even or speak my voice. That's a big one. And so I look at this and I'm like, witch wound, witch wound, witch wound, witch wound, witch wound, because of that divine feminine energy that comes with Chiron. And also because if we think all the way back, where did this stem from? Where did this come from in our lineage? We can trace it back to way back when there were healers. There were many women who had this beautiful energy, whether they were midwives, whether they were, witches, or they had apothecaries, or they decided to use things like the earth to help heal, using different herbs, like, feeling the energy, using their intuition. The opposite energy to that has said over time, no, male, masculine energy is dominant. You must have a plan. You must do this to succeed. And obviously, you can say through our evolution how that's kind of progressed. So when I see a Chiron in Cancer and I see all these clients coming to me now who have this, and I also have this, so yes, I could attract this type of energy. I see this as a beautiful time to talk about this and start to bring more awareness to this particular piece, because as we know, that feminine matriarchy energy is kind of on the rise, and we're not getting rid of the patriarchal energy. We need that. But we need to learn that it's safe for us to receive. It's safe for us to open our hearts. It's safe for us to help others with our own innate gifts as females, or as someone who has this, I should say instead, as someone who has that feminine energy, like the Chiron in Cancer in their chart. Now, I'm super passionate about this because obviously it's something that I have to constantly work through. And during times of the month where maybe there's transits in Cancer season, I notice a lot of these wounds come to the surface. So you can think of things like in terms of this, of like my shell, right? Like, where does it feel like I'm not allowed to be me because of the spiritual gifts that I have? Where does it feel like my emotions are too big? Where does it feel like I'm completely out here on my own and I don't have the support to feel safe? Those are often narratives that can come up here. Now, what you'll notice is this particular Chiron in Cancer is retrograde, which means when the planet is retrograde, there are often a lot of inner lessons associated with that. So just kind of, it's a lot deeper, okay? It means that there is a lot of maybe things there that we have to work through. It's normal to have planets like this. And sometimes people have a Chiron that you don't, right? Like it's not retrograde. It's just as is. You still have the lessons there, but if it's retrograde, it might be very internal where these come out. So I want to think in terms of this as like, if you have this placement, or if you know someone with this placement, what is their relationship like to the feminine energy? Do they embrace it? Do they run from it? What is their relationship like to their intuition? Do they also embrace that, or do they run from it? Do they, what is their relationship like in relationships, for example? What energy is more dominant? These are things to start to become aware of with Chiron in Cancer. And like I said, the witch wound. I'm specifically dialing in on this today. What I invite you guys to do actually in the comments below is write out what your Chiron placement is in. Because what I'll do is I will answer back and I will give you a brief little overview of what that Chiron might mean for you. But specifically, I wanted to focus on this as the witch wound because I see this so often. And I think we're at this time right now of really being like, it's apparent, you know, there are many folks in the world right now who are offering their services and different ways of healing, and they're being shunned, quite honestly, and saying, nope, nope, we're going to stick with this, with the way it's always been done, the way that we developed a long time ago, because that's a bunch of woo woo and doesn't make logical sense. Cancer energy doesn't have to make logical sense. It's emotions, it's emotional, okay? It's felt, it's deep. Something else I want to say with this too is that what you might start to notice in your lives is, yeah, maybe other people have this similar energy, or you can start to ask, like, hey, what's your Chiron in? And if you notice this, like, if they have this, be like, oh, wow, okay, we're all here at the same time together for a reason. So, how can we support each other to embrace those gifts, right? Good one for this is like gathering with other divine feminine energy, if that's how you want to describe it, and create spaces for that to really kind of come out. I also know there's a few of you in here who have great ideas, if you're not already running them or have started running them, to have connection with other women that allow that to grow and expand. And I already know some of you have beautiful programs that are doing that, actually, which is beautiful. Something else we can take note here as well is wherever our Chiron is in our chart, is that we might notice that there's other people who come into our lives who don't have this placement, but they might have, I don't know, other things in their chart that how do I want to say this? I don't want to say trigger, but like essentially they kind of put a pin in our Chiron and say, ooh, I'm going to help this person expand and grow and probably bring up a lot of wounds. I want to give Chiron in Cancer just an example of this. So here's a little story. I actually dated someone who was a Cancer rising. And I didn't like think anything of this at the time. Like I was so in the like love bubble, and whatever. I just started my journey with astrology. But something I noticed afterwards, or like when I had both of our charts, because he was open to it, and I was like, oh, this was after everything kind of happened, and our relationship kind of ended. But I realized this person's rising sign is Cancer, connects with my Chiron. So if we think of someone's rising sign, right? Like they're sort of like their outer exterior, and that would be showing up in my area of the chart where Cancer is for me, where my Chiron is. So there was obviously some form of wounding that I had to experience mirrored back to me through that person. That's a very karmic placement. He also had his Mars in Cancer, so it was like the masculine Mars energy pulling something out. And so that's just an example of ways that you can start to put this together as you begin to understand these concepts deeper. And what I will also say is that your intuition will guide you. This isn't, like I said, I've read and I've learned all about all these different placements, but I started to embody it and be like, okay, whoa, this person gave me an example of this, like, and then you form your own. Okay, from that. And I have kept getting downloads around the witch wound being Chiron and Cancer. That's an example. Something else I will also say, that through that relationship, what happened was he was the first male masculine energy who actually was like, he had a lot of Cancer energy in his chart. So there was this safety in like a feminine connection. Like I felt safe to explore or talk about my intuition, spiritual topics, also astrology. He was very supportive in those things. And including emotions and talking about emotions, which I had never experienced before. He was the first person to open that up and show me that there are men who do have relationships with their emotions and it's healthy. So, again, that's just an example of something that, like, I don't like the word trigger for this because obviously there was a lot of triggers within that, you can just imagine. But it opened that up. It opened up that portal. Another example is like what's going on in the world right now. If we share our truth about what is true for us and what we feel intuitively about situations happening in the world, there is potential threat there of speaking up and speaking your truth. But the more that you unlock, the more you're going to be able to set yourself free and begin to open up to receive the love and support and guidance from others who are also looking for you too, for looking for your gifts, looking for your light, your magic, whatever it is that you want to refer to that as. And so today I almost feel like crying because this like Chiron and Cancer energy is really, really beautiful. And it's potent and it's needed now more than ever. Okay. That's the Chiron Cancer. It's like, whew, safe space to get this out, to talk about it, to speak about these things, to allow ourselves to be free. That's there. All right. Now what I want to actually show you guys is the chart right now, because we're going to look at oh yeah. I'm also feeling called to say there's a lot of people who are like, my nose is, sometimes this happens. I feel like there's a lot of spirits near me today. Chiron in Cancer placement can also be connected to like things that we're not easily like letting go of, because Cancer holds on as well. So it's like that like cling, like, no, I'm gonna hold on to this for comfort. I don't want to let go. So like, let's say for example, a romantic relationship, you might hold on to that more, or it might sting more when it does move on. That can be common. Again, it depends. Like if it's in, I don't know, like a different area of your chart, it might represent something different. But what else I was going to say is I've seen a lot of mediums and psychics and intuitives. I've read their charts, and a lot of them have Chiron and Cancer. So something to keep in mind as well. All right. I also just want to share the chart at the moment and show you where Chiron is here. So this is the chart of the day today. And I want to just let everyone know that obviously Chiron changes. Chiron stays in, I can't remember off the top of my head right now how long his transit is. For some reason, I want to say 12 years, but I'm actually going to double check on that and put it in the comments below. But Chiron in Aries is what we are dealing with and have been dealing with for a while. So currently right now, Chiron is in the sign of Aries. And what does that mean? Well, you would isolate it, right? Like take both and then merge them together. So we know that Chiron is about our healing and our wounds and things that we have to work through. And what do we know about Aries? Aries energy is very fiery, right? It's about being a leader. It's about being ourselves, the relationship we have to ourselves. It's about pioneering something, being that playful, curious energy, right? And so Chiron in Aries, in the most mundane form, working through wounds around feeling safe to be yourself. Look around the world, folks. That is literally what is happening. There's a righteousness with Aries, and when we feel like we can't be ourselves, like this is me. And so on one hand, again, everything has a shadow and a higher version. And so Chiron in Aries is like finding yourself, stepping into yourself, allowing yourself to be seen for who you are, working through the wounds of like, no, like this is, I'm putting me first, like this is about me. That can be very Chiron in Aries. Well, on the shadow side of that, it's like, where do I feel like, you know, I'm like, this just gets to be me, like no one else, like I don't care what you say. And it's just, you know, it's almost like if you're not with me on my side and like honoring who I am and like every single thing that I say I want for me, then you're out of here. And it doesn't leave room for that person to kind of see us as like, oh, I have to like get to know this new version of this person or who they've always been, and just give them time. So of course there's always a higher and lower frequency to everything. That witch wound of like Chiron and Cancer lower frequency is like, I'm just not going to let anyone help me then. Like it's almost like a woe is me type of energy. And it can also hold on tightly, like that victim mentality can be in there too. So thinking of these things, forming your own kind of ideas around this. What do you think yours says about you in the placement that you have? Start to really feel into this, intuitively feel it. That to me is the best way to digest this energy. So that's what I'm going to say for today's classroom episode. I hope that was helpful. In the comments below, I'm going to write a little thing down there, but I would love to hear what your Chiron placement is in. And also like give me a little like, what do you think it is for you? And then I'm going to write back to whoever wants to write your responses. I'm going to write back and be like, oh my gosh, yes, love that. Or like, ooh, what about this? So yeah, check the comments below for your little homework. But I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for investing in yourself and starting to learn this language. As you guys know, for me, I'm like, let me riff, let me talk about something, let it just like pour out. And I feel like that's really when you receive the best of like the knowledge that's up here. So yeah, also, if you guys have anything that you really want to hear coming up, definitely comment those below as well, so then I can have more ideas. All right, I will see you guys later. Happy 222, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Bye.